In the year 1453, a 21-year-old sultan accomplished what mighty empires had failed to do for centuries. He shattered the walls of Constantinople and reshaped the destiny of the world. His name was Mehmed II, the Conqueror. Mehmed II was born in 1432 into the powerful Ottoman dynasty. From a young age, he was prepared not just to rule, but to conquer. His father, Sultan Murad II, ensured that Mehmed received an exceptional education. He studied languages, military strategy, mathematics, science, and Islamic scholarship. But beyond knowledge, he carried an ambition that burned brighter than any lesson he learned. At the age of just 12, Mehmed briefly became Sultan for the first time. Though young and inexperienced, this early exposure to leadership shaped his character. He observed political tensions, understood the weaknesses of rival states, and learned that ruling an empire required both intelligence and iron determination. When he returned to the throne in 1451 after his father's death, Mehmed was no longer a boy. He was focused, disciplined, and driven by a single vision: the conquest of Constantinople. The city stood as the heart of the Byzantine Empire, protected by massive walls that had resisted attacks for nearly 1,000 years. Many had tried to capture it. All had failed. But Mehmed believed history could be rewritten. He began preparing silently but strategically. Fortresses were strengthened, armies were trained, and new weapons, including massive cannons never seen before, were designed to challenge the legendary walls of the city. The young sultan was not just planning a battle, he was preparing to change the course of history. As preparations intensified, Mehmed II moved with precision and secrecy. He ordered the construction of a massive fortress along the Bosporus Strait, directly cutting off Constantinople's access to reinforcements from the Black Sea. This bold move sent a clear message: the siege was coming. Meanwhile, engineers worked tirelessly to build enormous cannons capable of breaking the ancient Theodosian walls. These weapons were unlike anything the world had witnessed before. When tested, their thunderous blasts echoed across the land, signaling the dawn of a new era in warfare. By April 1453, the Ottoman army stood before the gates of Constantinople. Tens of thousands of soldiers, elite janissaries, and powerful artillery surrounded the city. Inside the walls, the Byzantine defenders prepared for what they knew would be a historic confrontation. For weeks, the earth trembled under cannon fire. The walls that had stood unbroken for centuries began to crack. Yet the defenders resisted fiercely. The battle was not only one of weapons, but of willpower. Mehmed remained calm and determined. He personally supervised strategies, adjusted tactics, and motivated his troops. When naval access became blocked, he made a daring decision. Ottoman ships were transported over land, sliding across greased logs into the Golden Horn. It was a move so unexpected that it stunned the defenders. The siege tightened. Hope within the city began to fade, while the determination of the young sultan grew stronger with every passing day. As the siege dragged into its final weeks, tension filled the air on both sides of the walls. The constant thunder of cannons had weakened Constantinople's defenses, but the city still stood. Emperor Constantine V and his exhausted soldiers fought with courage, knowing the fate of their empire hung in the balance. Mehmed II understood that victory would require not only strength, but perfect timing. He ordered continuous bombardment to wear down the defenders physically and mentally. Night after night, Ottoman forces attempted assaults, testing the weak points in the walls. Inside the Ottoman camp, discipline remained firm. Mehmed walked among his soldiers, inspiring confidence and reminding them that they were part of a mission that would echo through history. He spoke of destiny, of glory, and of a future that awaited beyond the city gates. Finally, in the early hours of May 29, 1453, Mehmed launched the final assault. Waves of soldiers advanced toward the shattered walls. The battlefield was chaos, smoke, fire, and the clash of steel filled the dawn sky. After hours of fierce fighting, a breakthrough was achieved. Ottoman forces pushed through the weakened defenses. The legendary walls that had protected Constantinople for nearly 1,000 years had fallen. By midday, the city was in Ottoman hands. The conquest of Constantinople was complete. With the fall of Constantinople, history entered a new chapter. Mehmed II, only 21 years old, had accomplished what countless rulers before him could not. The Byzantine Empire had come to an end, and a new era had begun. As Mehmed entered the city, he demonstrated not only victory but vision. He declared Constantinople the new capital of the Ottoman Empire. Rather than destroy the city, he chose to rebuild and transform it into a thriving center of culture, trade, and power. Churches, markets, and public spaces were preserved and restored. Scholars, artisans, and merchants were encouraged to settle in the city. Mehmed understood that true conquest was not only about capturing land, but about building a civilization that would endure. Under his leadership, Constantinople, soon to be known as Istanbul, became one of the most important cities in the world. It stood at the crossroads of Europe and Asia, symbolizing the strength and ambition of the rising Ottoman Empire. The young sultan had not only conquered a city, he had reshaped the balance of global power and marked the beginning of a new historical age. After the conquest of Constantinople in 1453, Mehmed II did not slow down. For him, victory was not an ending, it was a beginning. He understood that holding the city would require strength, strategy, and vision. Mehmed immediately began strengthening the empire's political and military structure. He reorganized the administration, ensuring loyalty among governors and stability across provinces. The Janissary Corps was further disciplined and modernized, becoming one of the most formidable military forces of the era. But his ambitions extended beyond Constantinople. Campaigns were launched across the Balkans and into Anatolia, expanding Ottoman influence deeper into Europe and securing control over vital trade routes. Each victory reinforced the empire's growing reputation as a dominant power. At the same time, Mehmed invested heavily in rebuilding and beautifying his new capital. Palaces rose, markets flourished, and scholars from different regions were invited to contribute to the intellectual life of the city. Constantinople was transforming into a global center of commerce, culture, and governance. Mehmed was no longer just a conqueror, he was becoming an architect of empire. As the years passed, Mehmed II continued to strengthen his empire through both diplomacy and force. He understood that power required balance, sometimes achieved through treaties, and sometimes through decisive action on the battlefield. His military campaigns extended into Serbia, Bosnia, and parts of Greece, further securing Ottoman dominance in the region. European powers watched carefully as the young sultan expanded his reach. His name inspired both respect and fear across continents. Yet Mehmed was not solely defined by war. He was deeply interested in science, literature, and art. He supported scholars and encouraged cultural exchange between East and West. His court became a place where different traditions and ideas could coexist, reflecting his broader vision for a unified empire. By the time of his later years, Mehmed II had transformed the Ottoman state into a formidable world power. The fall of Constantinople had marked the end of one age, but under his leadership, a new and powerful era had firmly taken root. His legacy was not just written in battles won, but in cities built, institutions strengthened, and an empire that would stand strong for centuries to come. As Mehmed II entered the later years of his life, his name had already become legendary. From a determined young prince to the conqueror of Constantinople, he had fulfilled a vision that many believed impossible. But his ambition was never limited to a single victory. He dreamed of an empire that would stand as a bridge between continents and civilizations. Under his leadership, the Ottoman Empire became a symbol of strength, strategy, and transformation. Constantinople, now the heart of his empire, flourished as a center of trade, learning, and culture. Mehmed proved that true greatness was not only about conquering lands, but about building a legacy that would endure beyond a lifetime. When he passed away in 1481, he left behind an empire stronger and more unified than ever before. His conquest of Constantinople had reshaped global history, marking the end of the medieval era and the beginning of a new age. Mehmed II was not just a conqueror. He was a visionary ruler, a strategist, and a leader whose name would echo through centuries. His story remains a powerful reminder that determination, preparation, and belief can change the course of the world. If you enjoyed this powerful journey through the life of Mehmed the Conqueror, make sure to subscribe to our channel for more epic historical stories. Like this video and share it with others who love history. Stay connected because the next legendary story is coming soon.